Patterns are very, very important. And any analyst will tell you that patterns can actually predict a lot about the future. So today I'm going to take you through a pattern that has happened since 2002 in the political scene, and it has a very high likelihood of determining the next elections. And before we go to that pattern, I want to take you through another pattern that happens in the US. So in the US, we normally have what we call midterm elections. And midterm elections happen just in between. So if you have the 4-year term, it happens after 2 years. And those midterm elections are very important because they show or have the indicator for the next presidential election. So if you look at the most recent one in 2022, it had a very close, I would say a tie, close like to time, because the Democrats in the Congress were just slightly or just got slightly above the Republicans by 2 seats. So Democrats have 51 seats and the Republicans have 49 seats. So you can actually see that replica in the presidential elections now currently happening between Trump and Kamala Harris. It is a very close to call election in the US. So if we come back home, we can actually trace back a pattern that has built slowly since 2002. So when Kibaki became president in 2002, he was, Kibaki was a good man and really wanted the country to move forward. So he got into, making the constitution get into, being adopted by the country. So he went into a referendum in 2005. And for me, 2005 was a midterm election for Kibaki, because 2005 is when we had a very, very brutal competition between, the orange and the bananas. And you remember that is when ODM was actually built. And Raila Odinga went to his side and Kibaki was on his side, and Kibaki lost in that 2005 referendum. That is what shaped the 2007 elections. And you could actually see Raila was actually about to get that seat in 2007. 2007 came and Kibaki and Odinga got into a partnership and they shared the government. And in 2007, remember, we had a post-election violence, and that post-election violence is what led us to what we were calling the ICC cases. And that was another midterm election. And that midterm election happened in between 2007 to 2013. And I can tell you, the ICC cases that came in between are the ones that determined the elections of 2013. And that's when we got Uhuru Kenyatta and our current president, William Ruto. And they became president and deputy. That was 2013. And they worked together. And in came something that was quite, shaky in that government. Raila Odinga got into that government. And when he got into that government, Raila Odinga, after the 2017 elections, advised, or they got together with Uhuru Kenyatta, President Uhuru Kenyatta, to propose a constitutional change, which was called the BBI. And the BBI was what was the mid-term elections for Uhuru Kenyatta into the next president. So when the BBI came, the BBI was actually rejected by the courts. And when it was rejected by the courts, and together then with the then deputy president, who is our current president, rejected it. And that is when he began his heavy campaign, because the heavy campaign was about me as an outsider coming into into government and wanting to become a president and beating what they were calling the dynasties. So you can actually see another midterm event that has happened there, the BBI. The BBI is what actually split the country into two. And that split was a split between Uhuru Kenyatta and President Uhuru Kenyatta and now the President William Ruto. So he came in, and when the President William Ruto has come in, something has happened, and we have had, just after 2 years, we have had a very strong midterm event. I would call it a midterm election. And the midterm election that has happened in Kenya was the Gen Z protests due to the finance bill. So the Gen Z protests going forward will be a high determinant of what this country going forward will be. You can actually see it. Look at the most current one, which was the 7-term limit that was being extended. You can actually see the protests have happened online. People have sent rejection emails to the Senate and refused, to have that, bill passed on into even debate. And you can actually see that all events now going forward will be highly shaped by this Gen Z revolution that happened. What this revolution has done, it has awoken up, the country from its political and social slumber. Other generations behind the Gen Zs have actually, or what we'd call the generations just above who've come before the Gen Zs, have awoken up. And now the country is quite alert, is open, and you can actually see people are actually talking and discussing issues that affect their country. So trust me, this midterm event that has happened in between President William Ruto's first term will highly determine the next elections. Thank you.